Before the world speaks to you, your spirit must speak first. Before the demands of the day rush in, your soul must establish its authority. Because the moment you open your eyes, you stand at the threshold of two realities, one dictated by the noise of the world, the other shaped by divine presence. Which one will you allow to set the course of your day? Morning is sacred. It is the fragile space where heaven whispers and the unseen sets the foundation for all that follows. The thoughts you entertain in these first moments, the words you utter before anything else, these are not mere habits. They are spiritual laws in motion. What you speak, you summon. What you expect, you align with. And yet, how often do we wake up and surrender the first moments of our day to chaos, scrolling through news that fuels fear, reacting to messages that pull us in countless directions, beginning the day already consumed by worry, by doubt, by the weight of the world pressing in before we've even had a chance to breathe. But there is another way. A way known by the sages, the mystics, the prophets. A way that ensures you don't wake up into the world's confusion, but into God's divine presence. A way that allows you to step into alignment with supernatural abundance before your feet. Even touch the ground. If the first words you speak each morning have the power to shape your destiny, why would you leave them to chance? If the atmosphere you create in the first moments of your day determines whether you walk in clarity or confusion, why would you not command it with the force of divine intention? This is not just a belief, it is an ancient spiritual law, one that has been honored for thousands of years across faiths, philosophies, and traditions. In the Bible, before any great movement of God, there was the practice of rising early in prayer. Before battles were fought, before miracles unfolded, before destinies were revealed, there was the sacred discipline of ushering in the presence of the Almighty at the very first light of the day. Jesus withdrew in the early hours to pray, seeking the stillness before the world could make its demands. King David wrote, "In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly." Psalm 5:3. And the mystics across time, from the Sufi poets to the Eastern sages, have always spoken of the first hour as the gateway between the seen and the unseen, the moment where divine energy is most easily accessed. But why? Why does the morning hold such spiritual power? Because when you wake, your mind is unguarded, your spirit is open. Your consciousness has not yet been shaped by external forces. It is the most receptive state you will be in all day. And science confirms what spiritual wisdom has always known. Your brain is in a theta state, a place of deep suggestibility, where what you focus on first will embed itself into the core of your subconscious. This is why the morning is a battleground. It is the place where spiritual forces compete for control over your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and ultimately, your reality. If you do not take authority in those first moments, the world will claim them for you. So the question is simple. Are you waking up in alignment with divine presence, or are you waking up into the noise of the world? Are you inviting God's supernatural provision into your life before anything else, or are you letting anxiety dictate the path ahead? There is a way to command your morning, to shift the entire atmosphere of your life from the moment you rise. It begins with prayer, but not just any prayer. A prayer that activates divine favor, that opens the gates of supernatural abundance, that ushers God's presence into your very being. Heaven does not move on empty wishes. It responds to the declarations of the faithful. The power of your words, spoken in alignment with God's promises, creates shifts in both the seen and unseen realms. And so, as you wake, before the weight of the day settles in, you must begin by speaking into existence the life you are stepping into. Lord, I welcome your presence into my life this morning. Before I do anything, before I engage with the world, before I let worry or distraction take hold, I invite you first. I surrender every burden, every concern, every lingering doubt from yesterday. I release the need to control what is not mine to carry. I step into this new day not with fear, but with faith. Thank you for the breath in my lungs, for the heartbeat in my chest, for the unseen miracles that are already aligning in my favor. Thank you for the provision I have yet to witness, the doors you are opening even now, the opportunities that will flow effortlessly as I walk in divine purpose. Lord, bless my hands to create. Bless my mind to discern. Bless my spirit to remain steadfast in the face of uncertainty. I know that today is not random. Today is orchestrated, and I choose to step into it fully aligned with your will. This is the prayer that shifts realities. It is not passive, it is not timid. It is a command to heaven and earth that this day will unfold in divine order. Because the truth is this: financial struggles, emotional burdens, and personal challenges are not yours to carry alone. The idea that you must navigate life in a constant state of stress is a lie, a deception meant to keep you from experiencing the supernatural provision that God has already set in place for you. The prayer of Jabez, hidden within the pages of Scripture, was a simple yet radical request. "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm." 1 Chronicles 4:10. And do you know what followed? The Bible says, "And God granted his request." Jabez did not beg. He did not doubt. He declared. He understood that when you step into divine alignment, abundance is not something you chase. It is something that flows to you naturally. The river does not question where its waters will go. The tree does not question whether it will be provided for. Nature moves in absolute faith because it knows its source, and so must you. Before the world speaks to you, your spirit must speak first. Before distractions pull at your focus, your soul must be anchored. Before stress tries to take hold, you must already be standing in faith, and it begins the moment you wake. There is a silent weight that so many carry each morning, a burden they have convinced themselves is their own to bear. The moment they wake, it returns. The pressure to figure everything out, the fear of what they cannot control, the endless cycle of worry, effort, and exhaustion. But what if this weight was never meant to be yours? What if the very struggles you wake up dreading each morning are not a sign of failure, but a sign that you have been carrying what God has already claimed as his own? You were never meant to walk through life burdened by anxiety. You were never meant to wake up feeling as though you must fight for every blessing, every opportunity, every breakthrough. Because when you try to control everything, you leave no room for the divine to work on your behalf. The world has taught you that surrender is weakness, that releasing control is giving up. But the greatest paradox of all spiritual truth is this: the moment you stop trying to control everything is the moment you step into true power. Imagine a river. It does not force its way through obstacles. It does not struggle against the rocks in its path. It flows effortlessly, steadily, without fear, because it knows its source will never run dry. This is the nature of divine provision. It is not something you must fight for. It is something you must align with. When you wake in the morning, you have a choice. Will you step into the day carrying the weight of your worries, or will you release them into the hands of the one who has already seen every outcome, every need, every solution before you even asked? Lord, I release my need to control. I surrender every burden that is not mine to carry. I refuse to enter this day wrapped in fear and doubt. Instead, I step into the flow of divine provision. I trust that what is meant for me will find me effortlessly, that no opportunity, no blessing, no provision can be delayed or denied when my faith is placed in you. I surrender my plans, my fears, my expectations. I let go of the belief that I must force things to happen, because I know that you are already moving on my behalf, clearing paths I have not yet seen, answering prayers I have not yet spoken. The moment you release control, the weight lifts. The moment you let go, the river begins to carry you. And when you step into this reality, when you stop fighting for what God has already placed in motion, you will see how effortlessly abundance flows. Because struggle is not proof of strength, and control is not proof of power. Trust is. There is a lie that has kept so many bound, a deception that has been passed down, hidden beneath false humility, wrapped in the illusion of righteousness. The lie that abundance is something only a select few are meant to have. The belief that prosperity is separate from spirituality. That financial success and divine purpose cannot coexist, but the truth is this: abundance is your birthright. Throughout Scripture, wealth is not condemned, it is commanded. The patriarchs of faith, Abraham, Solomon, Job, were not just blessed, they were divinely favored with supernatural provision. Proverbs 10:22 says, "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it." This is not an opinion, it is not wishful thinking, it is a spiritual law. The enemy does not want you to understand this, because the moment you do, the moment you recognize that your financial well-being is a divine promise, not a personal struggle, you break free from the limitations that have kept you small. Lack is not holiness. Scarcity is not humility. Struggle is not proof of devotion, because when you step into divine abundance, you do not just prosper, you become a vessel for blessings that extend beyond yourself. Imagine a well overflowing. The water does not stop at its source, it spills over, reaching those who thirst. It expands, nourishing the land, giving life to everything it touches. This is what true wealth is meant to be, not hoarded, but distributed through divine purpose. So the question is no longer if you are meant for abundance. The question is, are you ready to receive it? Lord, I declare that I am open to divine abundance. I release every false belief that has told me I must struggle for what you have already ordained for me. I receive supernatural provision, not just for myself, but so that I may bless others, give freely, and expand the reach of your kingdom. Every morning before the world speaks, before doubt has a chance to enter, I will declare this truth over my life. I am a vessel of abundance, and as I give, I receive, because when you align with this reality, money no longer controls you, you control it, and that is when true prosperity begins. The world has convinced you to be cautious, to be realistic, to temper your expectations, to prepare for disappointment, to live in the realm of what is reasonable. But faith was never meant to be reasonable. Faith is the force that turns impossibilities into reality. It is the bridge between what exists and what is yet to be. And the greatest secret of all, the hidden law that the spiritually awakened have always known, is that expectation is the key that unlocks divine provision. Because God does not meet you at your level of need. He meets you at your level of expectation. If you expect lack, you will find it. If you expect obstacles, they will appear. But if you expect supernatural favor, if you wake each morning knowing that divine appointments have already been arranged on your behalf, you will begin to see the evidence of it everywhere you go. Gratitude is the seed of expectation. It is not just a feeling, it is a spiritual force that multiplies what you already have. So before you even begin your day, before you step out into the world, give thanks for the things you have not yet seen, as if they have already come to pass. Lord, I thank you for the abundance that is already flowing into my life. I thank you for the unexpected opportunities, the divine connections, the financial breakthroughs that are already aligning in my favor. I thank you because I know that I am walking in divine appointment. I am never out of place. I am never behind. Every step I take today is guided by your hand. This is how you live in perpetual divine favor, not waiting for miracles, but waking up expecting them, not doubting whether provision will come, but knowing it is already on its way. And as you walk through your day, you will begin to notice the signs, the moments that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence, the doors that open effortlessly, the opportunities that arrive without force, because when you shift your expectation, you shift your entire reality. So today, and every morning from this moment forward, rise with the certainty that you are not just hoping for a blessing, you are already walking in one. Here's the final part of your voiceover-ready script, maintaining the profound, immersive, and transformative tone from the previous sections. The world operates on conditions. It tells you that joy is found only after success, that peace is earned through struggle, that abundance comes only when you prove yourself worthy. But the divine does not work like this, because when God blesses, He does not bless with hesitation. He does not wait for you to be perfect, nor does He measure what you deserve based on human standards. His blessings are not wages to be earned, but gifts to be received. And yet, so many wake up every morning doubting this. They hesitate to believe that supernatural provision is already theirs. They hold on to guilt, to shame, to the lie that they are not yet ready to receive what has already been promised. But the greatest act of faith is not in asking. It is in receiving without question. It is in standing in the certainty that God's plan is already unfolding, even when it cannot yet be seen. A child does not wake up doubting whether their parents will provide food, shelter, and protection. A child does not question whether they are deserving of love or security. They receive without hesitation because they trust the one who provides. And this is how we are meant to approach God. Lord, I receive without hesitation. I release every thought that tells me I must earn what you have freely given. I reject every doubt that questions my worthiness. I step into the fullness of what has already been set aside for me. I am no longer waiting for a sign. I am no longer hoping for a breakthrough. I declare that it is already done. When you stop waiting for permission, when you stop doubting what has already been decreed, you will witness abundance that flows effortlessly, favor that cannot be explained, opportunities that appear without struggle, because your faith is the key that unlocks the door that has been waiting for you all along. There will always be voices that tell you to doubt. There will always be those who look at your faith, your blessings, your transformation, and question it. And yet the truth remains, what God has ordained, no man can undo. There will be moments when the world will try to convince you that your success is luck, that your abundance is coincidence, that your faith is misplaced. But your blessings are not up for debate. Your divine calling is not dependent on the opinions of others. When Noah built the ark, he was mocked until the rain began to fall. When Joseph spoke of his dreams, he was betrayed before he was elevated. When Jesus walked in miracles, he was doubted before he was worshipped. This is the pattern of all those who are called. Before the breakthrough, there is always disbelief. Before the elevation, there is always opposition. But you were not called to prove yourself. You were not chosen to convince others of what God is doing in your life. You were called to walk in faith regardless of who understands it. Lord, I release the need to seek validation. I am not moved by doubt, nor am I shaken by disbelief. I do not need the world's approval because I already walk in your favor. Let my life be the proof. Let my blessings be the testimony. Let those who once questioned your presence in my life witness the undeniable evidence of your divine provision. And when this happens, when the blessings unfold in ways that cannot be explained, you will not have to say a word, because abundance speaks for itself. The world has convinced us that success must be chased, that we must strive, struggle, and exhaust ourselves to achieve even the smallest victories. But divine wealth is not pursued, it is attracted. Because when you are in alignment, when your heart, mind, and spirit are synchronized with God's will, prosperity is not something you chase. It is something that follows you. There is no anxiety in divine provision, no endless struggle, no uncertainty. Just as the sun does not fight to shine, just as the ocean does not force its waves to rise, abundance flows naturally to those who are ready to receive it. This is what it means to live in the fullness of divine provision. To wake up each day not wondering how you will make ends meet, but knowing that your every need is already met. Lord, I declare that I no longer live in fear of lack. I walk in the certainty of divine provision. I trust that what is meant for me will come to me effortlessly, in perfect timing, without delay. I am no longer operating in the world's system of scarcity. I am operating in heaven's law of unlimited supply. This is the life that has been prepared for you, a life where every resource, every opportunity, every blessing is not something you beg for, but something that is drawn to you effortlessly. And once you understand this, once you fully step into this reality, you will never chase after anything again. Many have been taught to believe that wealth is temporary, that blessings come and go, that nothing is truly guaranteed. But the divine does not operate in temporary blessings. God's provision is not seasonal, it is eternal, and what He has prepared for you is not just for this moment, but for generations to come. Because when God blesses, He blesses beyond what you can see. He does not provide just enough. He provides overflow. He does not open small doors. He creates pathways that continue long after you are gone. When you walk in divine abundance, your blessings do not end with you. They continue through your children, through your legacy, through the lives you impact. Lord, I declare that my wealth is not temporary. My blessings are not fleeting. What you have provided for me will continue to flow beyond today, beyond tomorrow, beyond what I can even imagine. I do not operate in lack or limitation. I do not fear loss or uncertainty, because what you have prepared for me is unshakable, unbreakable, and unlimited. And when you live in this truth, you will see how effortlessly abundance flows, not just into your life, but into the lives of those around you. Because true wealth is not measured by what you keep. It is measured by what continues long after you are gone. You are standing at the threshold of a decision. Will you continue waking up bound by doubt, or will you rise each morning in the full expectation of supernatural abundance? Will you live in scarcity and fear, or will you step into the divine provision that has already been written for you? Every morning is a portal, a doorway, a moment where you decide which reality you will step into. The choice has always been yours. Lord, I step into the morning with certainty. I do not hope for blessings, I expect them. I do not wait for abundance, I declare it. I do not chase after favor. I walk in it because I am chosen. I am aligned, and I am already living in the divine overflow prepared for me. And from this moment forward, I will never question it again.